Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me on the Slice of Healthcare podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joining me today is Phil Kantoff, the co-founder and CEO at Convergent Therapeutics. How are you today?
Good, Jared. Really nice to be here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Excited to have you here. Let's dive right in. Tell the audience a little bit about your background.
Sure, Jared. So I'm a medical oncologist, a physician that specializes in cancer. And I've spent most of my career in academic medicine. I was at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, which is the Harvard Cancer Center. And I spent 28 years there. Then moved to New York to become the chairman of medicine at Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is the big cancer center in New York City, and was there for 6 years leading the Department of Medicine. And throughout my career, I've been involved in laboratory science, clinical trials, and taking care of patients, mostly with prostate cancer. And prostate cancer has been a big part of my focus over the past several decades. And about a year and a half ago, I decided to switch gears and leave academic medicine and go into biotechnology. And very intrigued by the area of biotechnology because of the nimbleness of the area. Drug development was very attractive to me. And I joined a company known as Convergent Therapeutics back in 2021.
And for the audience that isn't familiar with Convergent Therapeutics, talk us through the company a little bit more. I know we're going to, later in this conversation, we're going to dive into your current pipeline and what's happening, but just give us a broad overview, and then we'll dive more into the current issues with prostate cancer treatments, and then why that need hasn't been unmet to make things better. But let's start out with a more of an overview.
Sure. Jared, this is an unusual biotechnology company in that a lot of the laboratory work had already been done. And by the time I joined or started the company, it was already in the clinic. So patients were already being treated with the lead therapeutic. And it was incredibly intriguing to me, the results that were being seen both in the preclinical setting, in the laboratory, as well as what was being seen in patients. And that was the reason that I joined Convergent at that time.
So when we look at the current treatments that exist today, why is really like treating prostate cancer, why does this still kind of remain an unmet need?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like you'll actually, for men, right? You'll hear a lot of men talk about eventually having like prostate cancer and things like that. So like, let's talk about why this still remains an unmet need.
Sure. So prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men. It's anticipated that this year, 2023, there'll be 290,000 cases of prostate cancer. And most patients will be cured of their cancer. And importantly, many people don't need to be treated for prostate cancer because it's so, in many cases, indolent or not aggressive. But for those people who have aggressive disease, it's a highly curable disease. But nonetheless, 35,000 men die every year of prostate cancer. So the unmet need is the fact that men live with prostate cancer. There are about 150,000 men with advanced prostate cancer living in the United States right now. And each year, about 35,000 men will die. So although we're doing a lot better than we did, say, 10, 20 years ago in terms of curing prostate cancer when detected early, treating prostate cancer, prolonging people's lives, giving people better quality of life, it's still a major cause of death in men.
And one of the treatments, right, is like for most cancers is radiation treatment. But let's talk a little bit about radio pharmaceuticals and why this is an exciting new option to treat prostate cancer.
Sure. So to your point, if prostate cancer is caught early, you can cure it with either surgery or focused radiation. And what I mean by focused radiation is you're delivering external beam radiation to the area of the prostate and around the prostate. And radiation is given either alone or it's given in conjunction with hormonal therapy, which is lowering testosterone levels because that enhances the ability of the radiation to work. What's novel now is the ability to deliver radiation throughout the body. And the way it's delivered throughout the body is by using a carrier that targets a particular protein on the surface of cancer cells, in this case, prostate cancer, and it's coupled to a radionuclide, which is a radiation-emitting particle. And this is a newer approach in the context of treating cancer, and I think it's going to be a very important part of the armamentarium in treating cancer. So specifically, what we're doing is we're using an antibody which is directed at a protein on the surface of prostate cancer cells and coupling that antibody to a radionuclide called actinium-225. So what's unique about actinium-225 is that it emits alpha particles. So there are different forms of radiation. There's gamma radiation or X-rays, which are highly penetrating types of radiation. There are beta particles, which are penetrating, but are larger than X-rays. And then there's alpha particles. Alpha particles are the biggest. They're 1,000-fold bigger than our beta forms of radiation, and they are much more powerful. Radiation causes breaks in DNA, and by causing breaks in DNA, when the cell tries to divide, the cell dies. And what's unique about alpha radiation is it causes breaks in DNA which cannot be repaired. If you have single-strand breaks in DNA, as you remember, DNA is double-stranded, 2 strands on it. Gamma radiation, X-rays, beta radiation cause single-strand breaks, which are reparable, but alpha radiation causes double-strand breaks, which are not, or very, very, very difficult to repair. So the unique thing of what we're doing is using targeted radiation, using an antibody directed at a surface protein on the surface of prostate cancer cells and delivering to those cells alpha radiation, which is highly powerful, causes double-strand breaks in DNA and very effectively kills cells.
So in theory, what that will continue to do is, would that also stop or lower the risk of it coming back like cancer tends to do?
Right. So, as is the case in cancer medicine or oncology, we usually start the clinical trials in patients with very far advanced disease that have very few options. So in that context, what we're trying to do is reduce the burden of the cancer, increase the quality of life, make people live longer. As you move the treatment into earlier stages of disease, you have a chance of curing it. And I believe that when we move very early into the sequence of prostate cancer, we will cure patients using this form of treatment, but we're not quite there yet. We're still treating patients with quite advanced disease, and absolutely, seeing really spectacular results as a result of the therapy.
Let's talk more about that too. Let's talk about the status of your current pipeline. Where are you at today, and what can we expect moving forward?
Mhm. So we're very focused on prostate cancer, and we're very focused on our lead therapy, which we call CONV-01 alpha, which is the antibody attached to the actinium. And we've now treated over 100 patients and have seen really quite dramatic results. So we are in what we call phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials, which are trying to determine what the appropriate dose is and the schedule, how frequently to give it, the appropriate patients to give it to. So we're in the not, I wouldn't say early stages. We're in the intermediate stages of developing this therapy, and we will be entering into a registrational trial, which is a trial that allows for approval of the medication by the end of next year. And that's a phase 3 trial using our agent in patients with advanced prostate cancer.
We'll have to have you come back on around that time, give us an update on where things are at too. That's very exciting.
Be delighted to hear, Jared.
What else is next for you, Phil, that you're really excited about with the company, in 2023 and beyond?
So what we want to do is, first of all, move this forward as a new therapy for patients with advanced prostate cancer, and by so doing, improve the quality of life of patients with advanced prostate cancer, make people live longer with better quality of life, and then move, as I mentioned before, into earlier stages of disease where we might get into a situation, hopefully, where we're curing patients who otherwise would die of their prostate cancer. In addition, we want to use the drug by itself, but we want to use it in conjunction with other medications that might work synergistically together to improve the effect of the CONV-01 alpha. Beyond that, we want to build a radio antibody company. So the target that we're using in prostate cancer, we want to use other targets that are applicable to other types of cancers. So there are other proteins in other cancers that are on the surface of the cells that we can develop antibodies to and attach to the actinium and hopefully have the same effect that we're seeing with CONV-01 alpha.
That's super exciting. Wow, that would be obviously, here's where you're at today, but I love the vision and where you see this potentially heading. That's super. You and your team must be really jazzed up about, where you're heading.
We're very excited about where we are right now and where we're heading. And I think this is going to become a big area in the area of cancer therapeutics. With our company and other companies that are trying to do the same type of thing, maybe using different strategies, but basically using targeted radiation in addition to the other modalities that we use in cancer, which is hormonal therapy, chemotherapy, surgery, radiation, and immunotherapy. This is going to become a major component of the treatment of cancer.
Well, I really look forward to staying in touch with you and continuing to follow along with Convergent's process and where you're at. And I can't wait to have you come on again already. Maybe we can dive more into some of the different parts of the business as well.
Sounds great, Jared. Nice meeting you.